So what's up everyone? I'm feeling pretty good today. I also just wanted to let you guys see this. So I didn't show you guys like the intro of the game. I just started the first dungeon, which is like pretty much like where the first part where you actually get to play. And the actual story of the game is that Zelda gets turned to stone. So, and you have to find a way to save her. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. What? Whoa, so you need like a really special kinstone for that. So last episode I was trying to finish the list, but if you'll notice, I kind of edited most of it out because I just kept saying, oh, you know, this character, they're just kind of average, so I just put them here, you know? And that's not a very good reason at all, so I gotta explain my reasons a bit more, so I'm re-recording it all today. Definitely, I don't really know where we're supposed to go right now. I guess we can go to South Hyrule. Or we get, you know, let's try to go to that Lon Lon Ranch thing that I found at the end of the last episode. The upper path, you know. I don't know what that's all about, but let's see. Oh, shoot. Yeah, you can't go that way. Okay, well, oh well. Okay, so first up we have Fi or Fi, I'm not really sure. But this is the character that guides you, you know, throughout Skyward Sword. And compared to other guides, I mean, I feel like she doesn't have that much of a plot. Like, she's really just, you know, there. Like, you know, she's just, I'm here to help you, you know? Like, there's nothing much going on there. Sometimes when she says her percentage things, you know, it's interesting, but most of the time, it kind of just comes off as very average, you know, robotic joke. So she's not that interesting of a character, but she's fine. I never, like, hated her like so many people do. So next up, and I think number 47, we have Dovos. So this guy is just the completely average guy. He sits around in like restaurants around town. You can talk to him, but the thing is, I put him up this side because I always remembered this guy, like, you know, as just one of the people that I would always, like, I don't know, talk to, I guess. So he's just memorable enough to be placed this high. That's why. Also, another thing I noticed is I keep saying next up. Okay, next up. Okay, next up we've got Birdie. Next up, okay, next up, we've got next up. So I'll try to stop saying that. So next up. So in the 46th spot, we've got Aegis. This guy's the sword master. He kind of is like the sword tutorial at the start of the game. I think he's a decent character for what he is. He's not very iconic, but he's there, and he definitely seems like a sword master, but he's not like a very crazy unique character, but he's fun and he's good, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, 45th place, we've got Impa. So Impa is one of the characters that is constantly perpetuating throughout Legend of Zelda. In this instance, she shows up in two instances, since this story does have time travel in it. She shows up as an old lady, and she shows up as a young lady from the past, and pretty much she's just there to help Zelda. She doesn't really have much importance other than just making you feel like, you know, Zelda's not helpless running around the world by herself. Not much to her in this game. I don't really remember much else about her. Next up, we've got in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, there are three main races that you find on the surface. The Mogmas, the robots, and the Pirellas. So the Pirellas, they're kind of like seahorses combined with jellyfish. 200 mysterious shells. I still don't know what those do. And the Pirella are, in my opinion, probably one of the weaker ones. I don't know, they're just kind of weird looking. They don't really have any unique character traits. They're just too weird to be fun, you know? I mean, I know that's weird to say, but like they're too weird, but also too normal. You know, they can't, I feel like they just don't strike the right balance of a good, you know, race design, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the average ones are always like elves and stuff, but Zelda usually likes to make up their own. And this is just one of the weaker ones. Okay, next up we've got Jelleaf. So really the only reason I put this above the Pirellas is because, get out of the way, you punk. Is because they just have this is pretty much the leader of the Pirellas, and they have a slightly cooler design with the coral on their head. And yeah, that's literally it. So next up we've got Mirko. This is another Mogma, and this is probably my favorite out of the three races design. I don't know, it just kind of is cool. It's like a humanoid mole type character, and I just really like them. And I wish they only ever show up in Skyward Sword, so kind of unfortunate. But anyway, enough about them. Let's talk about Mirko. I don't remember him. He has this blonde hair, and honestly, I guess the Magmas there's just too many of them. I just don't remember them. But it definitely is better. I do remember it's better when you're playing the game than the Pirellas, where all the Pirellas, like, they don't even have names. But the Magmas definitely have more individuality. Go down here. What? Oh my god. Oh god, I remember taking forever doing this. So you know what? Let's do this for a while. Let's get some freaking figures. We got Brocco. So yeah, again, Mirko, it wasn't super memorable, but I definitely enjoy them better than the Pirellas. Okay, so next up we've got all of the Kikwis, which is, oh, this is another race. So there's the Kikwis, the Pirella, the Magmas, and I guess in the Gorons as well. And the Kikwis are not as good as the Magmas, but definitely unique and interesting. They're kind of like birds, but also like bushy. I don't know, they're weird. Anyway, I ranked them all mostly just based off their looks. So let me pull up picture images of them, because I do forget what they look like. Okay, so first up we got Machi. I think this is the first one you meet. He's very, regular looking, so I just put him at the bottom. Next up we've got Lopsa. So this guy, he's got a bit more character. He's got those weird looking eyebrows. Then we've got Ulu. Ulu has even more distinguished eyes. I mean, really that's the only difference between them is their eyes and maybe their hair a little bit, I guess. And of course at the top we gotta have Urla, because he's got the stash. I mean, who can argue with that? How many of these are there to collect? Okay, 130. That's not bad. So next we've got Rusta. This is another civilian who's just really memorable to me. He's the old man, and I just always remember him at the Lumpy Pumpkin, and he's just a cool old man design. I mean, he looks very, normal. Like, he looks like an old man you could see in real life. And I remember talking to him, and I actually did like get some hints in the game from him. Like, most of the NPCs do have something to say, but sometimes they tell you things that aren't important or is something you already know. But this guy, I think I do remember actually learning some stuff from him. And so that's why I put him up so high. I'm just kind of fond of him. So next up we've got Gondo. This guy is the guy that upgrades all of your tools. And he's really cool. I mean, he has a cool design. His half shirt's a little weird, but he's just a cool guy. And it's always good to upgrade your stuff. I mean, he's definitely on the higher side of the characters for me, just from his design alone. And he doesn't have much of a character, but he's just the upgrade guy, so he doesn't really need it. I don't know how many shells we have, but we're just blasting through this. Oh god, we got Great Butterfly Fairy. Gortrim, this is a Goron that apparently runs a minigame, but I do not remember him at all. I put him up this high because I do really like the Gorons. They're the only recurring race in Skyward Sword, and they're probably the best one out of all the ones. I mean, the Ruda are pretty cool, but the Gorons are they've been around for ages, and this guy just is looking pretty cool, but I don't remember him, so I put him down lower than some of the other characters that I do know, like Gortrim. Who's Gortrim? Like Levias. So Levias is a boss fight character. He gets like infected with some kind of weird thing that makes him evil, and you have to you ride your bird. It's the only true, airborne battle in the whole game, and it's pretty epic. I mean, you have to jump off and land on him, and then like slice up this parasite he has in him. And it's a pretty cool fight, and he has a pretty cool design. So in 32nd place, we've got Demise. This is the main villain of the game, but I put him this low because you don't see him at all in the game. He's only in the game at the end of the game. He's really only the final boss. You don't see him at all before then. So sure, he's pretty cool, but he doesn't get a lot of screen time, and he doesn't really have much of a character, and Girahim is definitely the better villain in this scenario. So next we've got Kukiel. This is a young kid that you meet in the village, and they are friends with Batro, who is a character I'll be talking about later. I mean, I feel like this is definitely a very common trope, a young child with a big monster, and the young child isn't scared of them. Monsters Inc. did it. A lot of shows have done it. It works here. I mean, it works well here, and they're just a decent character. Okay, in 30th place we've got Colin. I honestly don't know why I put him up this high. He's one of Groos's lackeys. Pretty much he has one decent quest where you have to deliver his love letter, Besides that, he's a very average character. I don't really remember anything else about him. He's short, but his cohort on the other side, Stritch, is very cool. I mean, it's very relatable that he has a secret hobby and is collecting bugs, and he's embarrassed to tell anyone about it, but he'll buy bugs off you, you know, and it makes the whole bug aspect of the game, like, you know, collecting with the net, feel a lot more valuable, you know. Okay, so next up we've got Lanayru, the third final and coolest of the 3 dragons. He's got this big billowy beard, and when you meet him, he allows you to play a boss rush, which I didn't do, but I kind of wish I did, because that sounds really fun, but I don't think I can go back now after beating the final boss. You kind of lose your save, but a boss rush mode is very cool, so he's definitely the best out of the 3. So next up we've got the race of ancient robots. So these are robots, no one knows who built them, and it's kind of funny considering this is the oldest Zelda game, you know, in the timeline. But there's even ancient robots, which shows that, you know, history, and, you know, there's always something that came before you. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's definitely interesting to see the ancient Egyptians, or the ancient robots, they have the design of having no arms, but it looks pretty cool in this scenario. I mean, it's very overdone, you know, Rayman, Mies, you know, there's so many characters with that, but the ancient robots look pretty cool, and there's that one with, like, the razor blades, like, or the claws that I like put on the digging claws that I put on my thumbnail, and like that thing is scary. So next up we've got Bucha. This is the best of the Kikwis. He's an absolute boss. He's like weighs 5 billion pounds. I mean, he's massive, but he's just super cool looking. He's got a giant mustache, and it's legit this time, not just leaves. He's just huge, and he's cool. I can definitely see why he's the chief. So next up we've got a lot of the Mogmas. So if you don't know, all of the Mogmas are named after stones. So Cobalt is obviously named after Cobalt. And this guy's pretty cool. I mean, he's got this cool ponytail. I think he's one of the main ones that you meet. And this guy's one of like the treasure hunter ones. You meet him a bunch. And then we got Lead, you know, obviously named after Lead. This is the most memorable one. I can definitely, you know, this is like when I think of a Mogma, this is who shows up in my head. Next up, we've got Bronzy. So I think, who is this guy? What the frick? I am scared for my life right now. Anyway, I don't remember this guy. He has a cool design though, but he's kind of creeping me out right now looking at him. 22, we've got Tuber. This is the guy that runs that mini game, and I think that mini game is pretty fun. It's like a gambling game, but he's pretty weird looking, but I'll give him the 22 spot just for having a fun mini game. So next up in number 21, we've got Quartz. Quartz, so this guy on the Wikipedia page, this guy gets all the way up to number 21 just because of what I read on the Wikipedia page, which is if you sit in the stool in one of the Bokoblin houses, then Quartz will come up and say, "Welcome to my house." But then he admits that really he's always wanted to say welcome someone to his house, even though it's not his. So I mean, that's pretty funny. Well, I just realized those acro bandits, the moles that come out of the ground, is that like the evolution of the Mogmas? I don't know. That would be funny. That's pretty funny to think about. So next up we've got Silva. Just a cool name, kind of weird looking, but I just kind of rank them all based on looks. I don't really know what to say about this one, but yeah. So at 19 we've got Skipper. This is if Jelleaf is the god of the Pirellas, this guy's the god of the ancient robots. Anyway, this guy, you ride your boat around the sand ocean, which is absolutely a blast. And he got a mustache. I mean, mustaches always get points in my book, but he's just an amazing boat driver. So at number 18, we've got Pippet. This guy is the help to everyone. He's friendly, but he's not super unique, but he's just the absolute, you know, just like nice guy at school, you know. Pretty much in a nutshell. So he's just kind of cool. You can't help but like him, so I put him up this high. Number 17, we've got Golo. So this guy is the mining guy, and I definitely remember this guy. I met him multiple times in Lanayru. Lanayru, I don't know how to say it, but he's working hard all the time, and I can't help but respect that. Oh god. So next up we've got the Moonlight Merchant, and this is just a talking rock. that you can sell stuff to. I don't remember ever selling anything to this dude, but why? I mean, it's cool. So, yeah. So now we're into the top 15 characters. And yeah, these are the absolute legends. These are my favorite characters. The ones that that are extremely memorable from Skyward Sword, you know. Really all the ones from 19 and above are all the memorable ones. Yeah, so at number 15, we've got Horg. This is the rescue knight that catches you when you fall off the island. The blue one, but I ranked him here because Horg is an absolutely god tier name. I mean, his parents knew what they were doing. So, you know, I mean, I can't help but give him this high spot. Number 14, we've got Feeny, who's the hand from the toilet. You know, you give it the love letter, you know, you complete the quest. Not really much to say about her, except for that she's iconic, you know, from Zelda. The hand out of the toilet, it's iconic. Okay, at number 13, we've got Peter. Oh, Peter. Peter is an absolute god among men. I mean, he's just epic. I mean, he's got his bamboo cutting thing. He looks swag. He's just very memorable. You can't help but love him. And the bamboo cutting is pretty fun. I wonder how that's gonna work in the HD one. It seems like it'll be easy to just cut it with the analog stick. So next up we've got Gold. This is one of the Mogmas, but this guy actually has a quest that is very memorable. You have to carry him up to Skyloft because he wants to live somewhere, you know, where he can relax for his retirement. He's an old man, and he just, you know, you carry him up to the Lumpy Pumpkin, and he just lives there for the rest of his life. It's definitely fun, and it's cool to show how the world's getting, you know, more connected. But if you think about it, Skyloft falls at the end of the game, so I mean, his vacation home will only last for so long. At number 11. This might be a little bit controversial, but we've got Zelda. I know a lot of people say the Skyward Sword Zelda is the best Zelda, which maybe she is because she definitely plays a more important role in the story. But she's a good character. That's why I put her up this high. But I'm not putting her higher because all the characters above here, they have really iconic designs, really iconic character arcs. All the characters above I just absolutely love, and Zelda is just a bit too not involved. I mean, once she gets captured by the tornado, all you do is you just hear about her. You're always chasing her, but you never really truly catch up to her, and you never really spend any time with her besides at the start of the game. And that's my reasoning for placing her this much lower than this low. So now we're into the top 10, the absolute cream of the crop. Let me drink some water so my voice can sound better for the top 10, because my voice might just give out. Okay, just kidding. My voice would never give out. Oh my god, my voice, whenever I drink water, you know, if you talk for a while, your voice starts to get tired. But I think it's restored now. So let's get on to number 10. So number 10, we got Gaypora, and this guy is the absolute legend. He is based off of Gaypora from Ocarina of Time, but he's in a human form. Apparently he's like based off of a sage or something, but he's just a cool looking guy, and there's not much else to say about him other than he's certainly iconic, and you meet him very early in the game. Number 9, we've got Gorko, and this is a funny character because what I just complained about earlier in this video is it's annoying when people tell you things that you already know. Gorko literally does that, but whenever he does it, he thinks he's finding out the most legendary stuff, but it's just stuff that you already know, or it's just straight out untrue. But he's trying his hardest, you know, he's an archaeologist, he tries his best, so you gotta give him credit where it's due. Number 8, we've got Petrus, and this is the lady at the item check, and she like falls in love with you if you keep talking to her or keep checking with her, you know, a lot. And, you know, it makes sense if you show attention to someone. I mean, it's Stockholm Syndrome, you know, the more attention you show to someone, the more they're bound to, you know, fall in love with you. But it's very realistic. It's funny how they built up a actually meaningful character arc for someone who just holds your items for you when your inventory is full. Number 7, we've got Rupin. This guy, I mean, his parents, they already knew what they were doing. They named him Rupin. He's absolute money grubbing, you know, store owner, and he chases you around. He's got those red rosy cheeks, And he's just a really fun, he's an unforgettable shopkeeper. You know, like the shopkeeper in this game, he's got like the mustache stuff. He's kind of cool, but all he does there is he just counts his money or whatever. I don't even know what he's doing. So number 6, again, lots of people say this Link is the best Link. But in my opinion, I kind of like Toon Link better. Maybe, I don't know if that's just me. I kind of like that he carries pigs around. But anyway, this Link is definitely one of the best Links, and he definitely beats out most of these characters. He's very entertaining, and you know something I thought about? This Link is like lazy. You know, he won't get out of bed, you know, he's lazy in the game. This Zelda game is one of the few Zelda games that has a day-night cycle, and this one is based off of you go to sleep and it becomes night. And that's perfect. I mean, this is probably one of the only Zelda games you can actually sleep. I mean, Breath of the Wild Link kind of does, but he kind of just rests around the campfire. But this Link, he's sleeping, you know, until he can get what he wants. And he's just very fun. He's got a very colorful design. Probably one of the best out of like the, you know, adult Link's designs. I mean, I know he's not exactly an adult, but definitely one of the better designs that's not Toon Link. Number 5, we've got Betrow. You find out the secret of the graveyard, which is that you can open this secret door and it takes you to this place, this house. And you see this giant dude looking like a demonic bat creature. And pretty much what you do is every time you complete a side quest, you get gratitude crystals and you give them to him. So pretty much you're just doing all the side quests just to help this one dude, which really ties all the side quests into one bigger side quest, which I think is really fun for a game. I mean, this game, it doesn't really have any side quests. Really, the side quests are the kinstones, which is pretty good for a, you know, a handheld game. When I say this game, I mean Minish Cap. But it just really ties all the side quests together and makes you actually want to do all the side quests just to help this guy and eventually see what he looks like not as a demon. Okay, so we've got a little bit below 200 now. So in number 4, who could it be but Girahim? He shows off the sword fighting very well. You know, you've actually got to outplay your opponent in this game versus just, you know, avoiding their attacks and swinging your sword, which is most Zelda games. And he just has a cool character design. He's kind of weird. I can't think of a better design for this game. I mean, he's that exact opposite of Feet, not boring. He's fun, weird. He does weird dances. He's just cool. At number 3, we've got Fledge. So this is the scaredy cat guy. He doesn't do much, but eventually you go over to his room and he's just on the floor doing push-ups. But he's exhausted and he's giving up. So what do? You give him steroids, or you give him a juice, a potion, if you will, that helps him get energy. You know, definitely not anything, you know, weird. You give him that stuff and he just goes, it just boosts him up. He just starts doing push-ups like crazy. He becomes super buff. It's just a fun storyline. And he's a cool looking character. He's another character that has a fun character arc. A lot of characters in this game, when you first meet them, you think, oh, okay, this is their trope. But some characters actually do, you know, evolve as you meet them more and more. So at number 2, we've got Beetle. How iconic is this? Flying through the sky in a flying house that you power with only your pedaling. I don't know how strong he is. I don't know how he survives. I mean, I think any normal human would be dead at that point. He must have like a god inside of him. I don't know. He's something else. He's a superhero at least. Maybe he has steel legs. I don't know. But he's definitely got something going on because that is not human. But his design's super funny. If you don't buy anything, then he launches you outside of his ship because he's tired of pedaling without making money. And it's pretty much the dumbest business idea you could ever have, to have a flying shop, because how many people are actually going to even go up there? I haven't seen anyone there except for me, Link, and he's pretty much an idiot, but that's why we love him. And number 1, if you've played Legend of Zelda, if you've watched any series of it, you can't help but put Groose as the number 1 character. It's not even a hot take at all, but you can't deny him. I mean, he starts off and you're assuming he's going to be an average bully character, but he's actually extremely important in the story, and I did not expect that. And he's almost as important. He's honestly more important in the story than Zelda is. I mean, I guess we're getting we're actually like getting into it. I mean, of course, Zelda is very important. I mean, she like seals herself or something. I don't know. But Groose, he's more iconic than Zelda, more iconic than anybody else in this game. He's got that big pompadour. What would Skyward Sword be without him? It would be a heck of a lot less unique. I mean, there's no other character like him in all of Zelda. No other character like him in lots of media, shows or movies or anything. And that concludes our list. If you have any questions or you have any disputes, leave them in the comments. I can't believe I finally finished this list. It was a long undertaking, but I went through it and I think I finally got it. So I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know if you want something similar to this for Minish Cap. I mean, I've pretty much seen every character in this game as well. But I could do something like that. Let me know what video ideas you have. I'm probably going to finish Minish Cap because it's very fun. And let me know if you have any topic suggestions in my Discord. I doubt anyone has watched all the way through this without dying. Next video is going to be just Discord topics. We're going to be doing 5 Discord topics. And that's all we're going to be covering.